Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Chris Banks, and welcome to our webinar on unleashing the power of embedded analytics. I am with Pyramid Analytics, and we are with an exciting elite partner of ours, OneSix Solutions. So I'm going to get everybody going in a second, but it's a pleasure to be here. We're going to certainly keep you informed about what's happening around the world of embedded analytics. Here is our agenda today. I'm going to kick it off with a quick introduction about Pyramid Analytics if you're not aware of who we are. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about our approach to embedded analytics and how we are different from some of the other vendors out in the space. Then I'm going to pass the baton to my friend Mike Galvin, who is the CEO and co-founder of OneSix Solutions. And Mike is going to give you an intro about OneSix Solutions, as well as talk about the power of embedded analytics. So why embedded analytics? Why do you even want to use it or think about using it? And then also provide us a case study. Then I'm going to pass the baton, or Mike's going to pass the baton, over to Kevin Kratzer, one of our superstar SEs here at Pyramid Analytics, and he's going to show you a live demonstration of how we embed analytics. So without further ado, and also we're going to end with a Q&A, and what we do ask for you is if you have any questions, save them till the end. There is a little chat window at the bottom of your screen where you can put your questions in, and we can certainly address them. So without further ado, what we're seeing at Pyramid Analytics around business intelligence, around analytics, the current BI ecosystem for many organizations, many that we're actually helping out because of the challenge that they have. And what we're seeing is that they have a mix of disjointed tools within their organization for business analytics, for reporting, for dashboarding, for data prep, as well as for data science and machine learning and AI. In fact, around business intelligence and business analytics, I was just talking to a company the other day that had 10 different BI tools within their infrastructure. And the challenge around that is that many of the tools that this particular company had required the movement of data. They had to either ingest data, they had to replicate data, they had to move data to another source that particular tool was able to leverage. And what that introduces is a few things. One is poor performance, for sure. Also data latency, also complexity. Complexity yields frustration. And also, at the end of the day, with all these different tools that they have, it's a high cost. That TCO is quite high because not only are you paying for the software and the maintenance costs around that software, but you're also paying for the people to maintain that and to manage that. And it becomes quite burdensome. So when we hear about that and we see that, we smile because at Pyramid Analytics, we have a decision intelligence platform. It's one single frictionless platform that combines the very best of data prep, business analytics, and data science, and machine learning, and AI, all in one platform that we built from the ground up around 2017. So we've been out in the industry, and what makes us a little different as well is that our platform is business user-centric. So you're like, well, what does that mean? Well, because it's a no-code platform, we try to meet the needs of as many different types of users within your organization, from the C-suite to the business analyst to the data scientist, but more importantly, that non-technical business user audience. We want to make BI and analytics easy to use and just to get them insights. For those non-technical business users, I promise you, they do not want another desktop tool that they're going to struggle with and wrestle with and not even go against the data that they want to go against, as opposed to gaining insight with a platform that delivers that insight to them in a very easy to use way. What we do, rather than ingesting and replicating and moving data, we work directly against the data in your data estate. So regardless if it's relational, whether it's an ERP or CRM, whether it's on-premise or it's in the cloud, or you've got a combination of the two, or you want to join disparate data sources together, we do it all. So we're going to save you the time in getting the insight. We're going to leverage the data that you have inside your data estate, and we're also going to reduce that cost, bring that down, that total cost of ownership, because you've got one platform that is meeting the needs for the masses inside your organization. And how we do that is from the simple to the sophisticated. So we recognize that you do have some business users that are a little more sophisticated, that want more capabilities. And guess what? Our platform delivers it to you. And the last bullet there around high scale deployment, we can be deployed anywhere that you want us to be deployed, regardless of the hardware, if it's up in the cloud, on-prem, combination of the two. Our architecture is screaming fast. We're going to give you the best performance and scalability, regardless of where you're getting deployed today. And if you want to deploy on-prem today, but you know what, in your roadmap, you're looking to go to the cloud in a year or two, or maybe in 6 months, nothing needs to change with us. We're going to deploy that to you. So that application and the reporting and the dashboarding and all the different visualizations, all of that still applies and nothing needs to change with that. We look at organizations and there's 3 areas where we can help you. And if you're covered there, no harm, no foul. But we speed up insights with any data inside your organization. We're going to scale adoption for anyone inside your organization. So again, we recognize the different types of users that you've got, and you've got some sophisticated ones, and you've got some non-technical folks that are just looking for an answer that they can make a faster and more accurate decision than any before. And then again, because of the breadth of capabilities that we provide, we're going to meet any analytics need that you could possibly have within your organization and beyond. So if you're thinking about maybe monetizing data and getting information outside your firewall to your customers, constituents, to the public, partner suppliers, and the list goes on, we can help you with that as well. I'm not the only one that says great things about Pyramid Analytics. In fact, we've got over 1 million customers to date that are leveraging our technology. And you can see the stats that I've got there at the bottom with from customer recommendations, satisfaction, net retention. It's actually over 100% because we continue to grow inside organizations and our peer insights continues to grow from Gartner. But speaking of Gartner, we were the vendor this year in the Gartner MQ that had the greatest positive movement, both up and over to the right. And not only that, the companion document that goes along with the Gartner Magic Quadrant is the Critical Capabilities Report, which is all about product and the different capabilities that the product can do. We were ranked number 1 in that report as well. So we're getting the attention of all the analysts like Bark as well, who's more prevalent over in Europe. We've been ranked number 1 for self-service analytics over there, and we're certainly a leader, a top-ranked vendor in the eyes of Dresner's market study in the wisdom of crowds. Speaking of Bark, their BI and Analytics Survey 24 is actually coming out in 1 week. I wish I could talk more about it right now, but the fact that this is about embedded analytics, I think you'll be very happy to see that Pyramid Analytics had a perfect score for embedded analytics, and we were ranked number 1 in that category in that report. Any of those things that I just mentioned, the Gartner reports, Bark's reports, if you're interested in getting a copy, just send us a quick note and we can get that to you as well. So our approach to embedded analytics, it's a little different from many of the vendors that are out there. And, you know, I was curious myself and I was popping around different vendors' websites and everybody says they're a leader in embedded analytics. And what we do is a little different because many vendors will simply take an iframe on your website and take the software and put it right inside that iframe. And if you imagine if you wanted a glass of water and you walked into the kitchen and in the fridge was that glass of water, what they're effectively doing is taking the entire refrigerator and embedding that entire thing, including the freezer, inside that iframe. And that is wasting a lot of resources just to get a glass of water. What we're going to do is give you that glass of water. So just from a performance and scalability right off the bat, we have lightweight code built specifically for embedded to give you that fast performance that you deserve and the great query time that you deserve as well. So we're not embedding in the page, we're actually we are embedding in the page, we're not embedding it on it with iframes. And we can give you that scalability that you're looking for, especially if you're thinking about going outside the firewall. So always keep that in mind. If you want to monetize your data, so not only just leverage it for insights, but also monetize it and push information out to your customers, that's something that we can help you with as well. But going over to the left, we are the #1 augmented analytics solution. And you may be scratching your head saying, well, I need reports and dashboards, but there's so much more to analytics, like one-click insights, automated insights, to tell you what's going inside your organization, natural language query, chatbots, drilling anywhere that you want to go inside your data estate, but making it easy to use. And that is our comfort zone, and that's where we're helping many organizations today. I mentioned it before, our breadth of capability, you're getting the full power of our platform. So it's not just a matter of reports or dashboards. I believe it's over 120 vendors that actually answer the Gartner MQ RFI, and it's shortlisted to 20. So there's a lot of vendors out there that'll help you with a dashboard or with a report. But going beyond that scope, this is where Pyramid can help you quite a bit and really future-proof your organization, so that if there's anything that you're looking to do around analytics, we can help you with that as well. And I mentioned it before, we're a no-code platform. It's all point and click, and you're going to see some of that with Kevin's demonstration. That being said, I get to stop talking for a while, and I'm going to pass the ball over to Mike Galvin, the CEO and co-founder of OneSix Solutions. Mike?
Thanks, Chris. Let me get a second to share my screen for everybody. Okay. So I like to start with a couple things. One is we're a data-driven company. We're talking about analytics and data-driven cultures. Don't just trust OneSix's opinion. Don't just trust Pyramid's opinion. But McKinsey & Co., pretty reputable organization. We've been around a long time and really successful with respect to strategy. They did a report that is really, at the end of the day, saying just this: these things are no longer optional. If you're looking at driving an organization by its data and becoming successful as a result, it's a must. And at the end of the day, I think if you think about the biggest brands that we all work with and our customers of today, think of Amazon, think of Netflix, like the list goes on. And I think one of the biggest differentiators there are those organizations are fully data-driven, top to bottom. They're leveraging data to drive more customers, to make themselves more profitable, to retain those customers, right? And the metrics, according to McKinsey, are proving themselves out over and over and over. So like I said, don't just take my word or Chris's word from it, but this is in the market and it's prevalent today. I think what's really critical to talk about is when we're thinking about products, analytics products, in particular, embedded analytics use cases inside of web applications or customer-facing products, this is the core piece of information you have to keep at heart. It's not going away, and it's only going to get worse. Really quickly, I want to give you 2 seconds on kind of who we are at OneSix, what we do. I promise I'll keep the commercial short, but at the end of the day, we're a consulting firm. We're based in Chicago, and all we do all day long is to work with our clients to get the most value out of their data that they can. Tons of different industries, tons of different use cases, but we're really focused on helping understand and set the strategy for what those data-driven use cases are throughout the organization, putting a roadmap together and a plan to get there. Not forgetting, though, about the people side of the business and what those teams need to look like, how they need to be constructed to drive value from your data. And oh, by the way, there's a lot of technical stuff in the middle that we help implement. Hands to keyboard, design, develop, architect, and model to support things like data lakes and data warehouses and data-driven experiences inside of applications, AI and ML use cases that drive business use cases forward through using our clients' data effectively. So that's who we are. That's what we do. I think when you think about this webinar, at the end of the day, what we're really looking at is kind of this big picture view of the world. And we think in general, we've seen over and over with clients across industries that any software solution, really, no matter what exists in the world, how fancy the features are, how cool the tool is, in most cases, we're seeing it's going to fail without some level of sophisticated analytical and user-friendly, highly interactive reporting experience. We do a lot of work in particular with some of our clients that are in the B2B SaaS space. And it's really interesting that the common theme tends to be the product company and the product teams are focused on how do I make the best product and the best features, and how do I do things pretty quickly to get things out the door. And sometimes the reporting and analytics capabilities of those tools, whether they're customer-facing software products in a B2B world or internal applications that your enterprise uses every day, sometimes reporting is a little bit of an afterthought, right? And you don't start thinking about the value the product can provide from an analytics and a data and a reporting perspective until customers start complaining, right? Or your internal end users start complaining. And that's really kind of the entire thesis around this webinar, is that how do we get information in the hands of users inside of the applications that they work with and love to work with every day, right? There's a couple of ways to think about doing that. And I think there's really a handful of really, really effective outcomes that we're seeing for people that do this right. For example, everyone loves dashboards and reports and the interactivity they provide, but those are not for everyone in the organization. Sometimes I just need you to tell me what I need to do to drive my business forward. And I want that to be a data-driven process. For example, someone who is working in inventory management and they use either a homegrown or a third-party application to do their day-to-day job, right? Managing inventory at different locations. The last thing they want to do in certain instances is go log into a dashboard, go find my dashboard, click on the report, click on the metric that tells me, go reorder X, Y, and Z product because our supply is low in these specific warehouses. It sure would be nice that in the inventory management system that I use every day, if I can be presented with a widget or a tool or a small report that says, here's the critical things to work on, and those insights are data-driven, maybe they're from a data lake, a data warehouse, it almost doesn't matter where it comes from, but it's making that user's life every day a lot easier, and it's just driving decision-making through the analytics and through the data that's supported throughout the rest of the enterprise. And guess what? I don't have to go log into seven other systems, create the reports, download any data, put it in Excel. It's right there presented for me in the information in the user experience that I enjoy and that I work with every day. I think the other things that we're seeing that are pretty regular occurrences and are really valuable is when you're able to use a product that you can both embed in certain places, create dashboards and reports in others, integrate data from various sources into a single pane of glass. There's a lot to be gained with respect to end user consistency, right? You don't have to use 4 different reporting tools and 3 different interfaces and have to train your team up on all of those for their jobs to be effective. It would be really nice to have inside of my customer portal the same widgets that I interact with as the same as my reports that I download to my Excel spreadsheet or the dashboards that I interact with every day across the enterprise. So that consistent user experience has been really, really beneficial, where the products that excel in embedded analytics give that consistent view of the world to end users. And then lastly, you don't have to control who has access to what data can they see, when can't they see it in one tool versus another. So data governance and overall user experience is really starting to drive forward in this world, and adoption starts to pick up way more quickly than what we've seen in maybe some of the other kind of disjointed technologies. Chris's comment earlier about 10 different BI tools. I can only imagine trying to log into 5 of them each day to get the information I want to do my job, and I can't imagine 10. So having a seamless user experience, there's a ton to be gained there from an efficiency perspective and from an end user's overall experience perspective. Lastly, don't just take my word for it, right? I think it's really important to understand where are we seeing this in effect in the real world. We did some work with a client in the healthcare space, and they have a software product that drives a whole bunch of healthcare use cases across the care continuum. And one of their challenges were they had a software product that they were using for their internal reporting development in part of their software product. And they were looking to move away from that. So they had about a 90-day window so that they didn't have to re-up with the new product and pay a whole nother set of licenses, et cetera. And they chose Pyramid. We worked with them and the team at Pyramid to understand their use cases and figure out how and why embedded analytics from Pyramid were going to be a good fit. Number one, they didn't have the time or the interest in that 90-day cycle to build something like a data lake or a data warehouse or a massive data infrastructure to support basic reporting and analytics in their web application for their users. So they wanted a product that can bolt on very quickly and seamlessly and point to any data source they needed to generate reporting and analytics and dashboards inside of their web application. It also needed to be really easy to learn, right? When you've got a 90-day window and you're looking to go to market and switch a reporting tool for the better as part of your software product, sure would be nice if your team knows how to build it, maintain it, enhance it in a really short time frame. So adoption was really great. The ability to learn very quickly and drive actual reporting outcomes and translating the old reports to the new world, the old dashboards to the new world was a very tight timeline, was hugely beneficial because I think in this case, Pyramid made it so. And we're just seeing this as a little bit of a recurring theme across industries is how do I make sure that I can take a product and leverage it in multiple different areas inside my organization in the manner in which our user community prefers to work with the data. Some of it is just rows and columns reporting. Some of it is dashboards. Some of it is embedded analytics and widgets, as I described earlier. So lastly, I'm going to hand it over to Kevin. Kevin's going to actually show you what this means in the real world with Pyramid, give you a demo of the product, talk through some of its features. Kevin?
All right. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Chris. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. All right. So, hello, everyone. My name is Kevin. What I'm going to do today is really kind of walk you through some of the things that Mike and Chris just spoke about. All right. And what I thought we'd do is kind of split it into two parts. The first is really focused around how we embed the technology. How the technology gets embedded is important when it comes to the performance and the experience of your application. So Chris talked a little bit about that. And the second, which is where I think we'll start for the demonstration today, is what can users do within your application once you've embedded content? And really starting to dive into not just embedding a chart or embedding a report, but allowing users to interact with it, make decisions right from within your application. So what you're looking at on your screen is a web-based application. It's something we've put together to showcase our embedded capabilities. But think about this as any web app that you may have in your organization, right? Which is what is key. And so what I want to do is kind of walk through some of the different types of content that you'll be able to create. And as we do that, let's take a look at some of the things that your users will be able to do and some of the things that your app development team will be able to do as well to help with that. So let's go ahead and dive in. And the first thing I want to do is I want to just approach this from the standpoint of embedding content, embedding a report, embedding a chart into your application. Why am I looking at just embedding a chart or a visualization? And the reason why is because you want to make sure that you have options when it comes to the user experience. And what I mean by that is you'll notice that I have my web page and you'll see I have this control here at the top. You have the ability when creating your application to create the controls that match the theme, the style, the look and feel, the experience of your application, and have that interact with the Pyramid content that gets embedded. Okay, really making it so that it's a seamless integration with your integration, not something that sits on top and looks like it's something you just added from another product. Okay, so really allowing you to do that from the standpoint of individual charts and individual reports. What if you wanted to take that a step further? Okay, what if you wanted to create an entire user experience and embed that into your application? Well, that's what we're doing here. What we're doing is we're embedding that entire dashboard into the application. Now, there's benefits when we do this. Okay. The first is you have that user experience. So I can use controls or I can click on certain items to interact with the entire dashboard itself. Okay. Or what I can do is I can really start to leverage some of the capabilities, some of the self-service capabilities and the augmented intelligence capabilities that Pyramid offers its users and within an embedded scenario. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at this bubble chart here. And, especially when you're embedding insights, visualizations, and reports into your application, you're not exactly sure who's going to be looking at it. You're not exactly sure of the analytical literacy levels of the people that you're going to be displaying information to. So you want to help people out. You want to make sure that you're level setting everyone's understanding of the insights that you're delivering. And Pyramid can help with that. Okay, we utilize our augmented intelligence capabilities. Chris was talking about these earlier to really create a narrative around that visualization. So now as a business user, I can look at this and I can get basic insights. I can get some Pareto analysis, relationships, trending information about the data within this visual in plain English text. Okay. I can go through and maybe I want to get a little bit more information into what this visualization is providing. Okay. And in here, I want to go through, get a little bit more information there. But what I also might do is I might want to see what are the outliers in that visual. Well, we initiate a distribution model, which is going to reduce that narrative. Okay. Again, producing more insights and getting users the information they need at the level that they need it. And you may also be talking about, looking at things from a product level or a categorical level. All right. And from that, we also provide insights from that standpoint so that if you are a particular a product owner, if you are a channel owner and you want to see insights around your particular channel or your particular product, you can do that by going over to the categorical elements in that visualization, and it will split it out by those different categorical elements. Okay. Again, this is all about helping whoever's logged in, whoever's looking at the dashboard that you're displaying, to understand the insights that are trying to be displayed and trying to be communicated to them in an easy to use way. Now you can actually take that and we could start looking at providing easy ways for users to go through and communicate with the data or interact with the data. And one easy way to do that, especially in an embedded way, is to go through and allow users to use a chatbot to interact with that data. So, I can go through here and I can say, you know what, instead of a bubble chart, I want to go through and I want to see that as a grid, just so I can see the data behind it. So doing things very simple just to help that business user. But what we can do is we can actually get a little bit more complex, and instead of just doing basic things like show and change the visualization, maybe I want to ask it a question to help me understand things. So being able to go in and say, you know what, I can go through and say, explain to me, we'll do finance forecasted amount and manufacturing forecasted amounts. So when I do that, the system's going to look through that and it's going to do a lot of work for me. Okay. Instead of just bringing me something back in a visual, it's actually going to give me a narrative. Okay. How much easier can you get within an embedded scenario than to have the system do things for you and help you out instead of having you spend a lot of time going through and finding this on your own? Okay. It's all about augmenting that those capabilities to give you a more seamless and experience, especially when you're embedded into another application. Now, the last thing from a user standpoint that I like to point out is the ability for them to do self-service. Okay. So instead of, what you'll experience with some other tools out there for embedding is that they want you to take the data for embedding and put it into another system. Well, that limits what your users are able to do. And what we're trying to do is give them the power to answer the questions all without leaving the experience that they're used to on a day-to-day basis. So being able to provide that ability to add columns in, swap columns out, or drill anywhere. That's what we have in our platform. It's called Add Dice Swap. So what does that do for you? Well, as a business user being embedded in an application, what I can do here is I'm looking at my qualification, my sales qualification stages, as well as my company industry. Well, maybe that's not exactly what I want to look at as a business user. So what I can do is I can come in here and through an easy to use menu, I can go in and use one of those features depending on what I want to do. So I can go through and say, you know what, I want to swap out. I don't need my company industry right now. I do want to change that over to company size. All right. And that's great, but I want to focus in on just the present solution phase, and I want to dice that out, and I want to look at that. Let's go and look at that by main campaign. All right. And now I want to go in here and I want to add in, I'm going to come over here to add, and here we'll go and add our company industry back into the report. Look at what I've done. I've fundamentally gone through and changed the report to answer a question that I have without having to pick up the phone and call someone, without having to go into another tool, and more importantly, if I minimize this, without having to leave the application that I'm embedded in. Really providing you a way to give that rich self-service user experience that you want your users to have without leaving your application. Okay, so it really does give that capability. Now, that's when you want to have a finished experience. That's where that dashboard comes in. You want to provide that capability out to your users. But what if you want to provide your users more of a portal type of experience within your application? And that's where we might be able to leverage something like our embed hub. What is that? Well, that's a capability that's going to allow you to really give a canvas to your business users, to your application users, so that they can choose what they see on that canvas. So you'll see I'm starting out with some visualizations here, but really with a click of a button, I can come in here and I can start editing that canvas. I can say, you know what, I don't really want that map there, but I do want to add a chart. There's a trend chart. I know I have access to it. I've seen it in the regular system. So I want to go in here, and what you're seeing is that in a very lightweight, easy to use menu, I'm able to go in and access the reports that I have rights to and be able to add content to my hub. So very quickly, very easily being able to do that. And I can go and resize things and make this look the way I want it to look. And when I save this, this will be my view when I come back in. Not only can I modify this, but I can add new pages. Okay? Really putting me in the driver's seat over what I see and what I'm able to do from an analytical standpoint right within your web application. Now, as an app developer, you might be thinking, gray box, our style is not gray. I want it to be more styled to our look and feel. And that's okay, because the hub can be styled to match what you do, what your organization's look and feel are. So it's really designed to, I think Chris mentioned it at the very beginning, to fit into your application rather than sit on top of it, to match what your application's design looks like. Now, I'm going to show you one other piece of content here, but I think it's a great segment to start looking at how the technology actually gets embedded into your application. Because up until this point, everything has been embedded into the application. Pyramid has a very lightweight analytical engine. It's our embed engine. Okay. And this is how we go through and provide you the ability to put analytics, put the visualizations, the hub directly into your application, depending on what it's written in. Okay, and we'll take a look at that in just a second. But it is important to know that we do support the ability to go and embed iframe and an iframe methodology. I think Chris mentioned it earlier, the problem with iframes apply when it comes to security, when it comes to, performance, because iframes are sitting on top of your application. Okay? But it's something we do support. Everything else you've seen uses that embed engine. So when I mentioned that, I mentioned it one to show you that a lot of the stuff you're going to use is going to be through the embed engine. It's going to be that lightweight capability, if for no other reason, to ensure that we don't impact the performance of your application. But there may be some instances where you do want to go through and utilize the iframe. So having the mixed capabilities is really key to your strategy. So how do you do that? How easy is it to go in and take Pyramid content and embed it into your application? I'm going to slide this window down here just so we can take a look at that. And we're looking at the Pyramid interface here. I come into here because I want to take a look at a piece of content. Now doesn't matter whether you're looking at a report, a visualization, a dashboard, it's still the same process. You're going to come over here to this little door looking icon. It's the action panel. You're going to come over here and you'll see some icons in the top right-hand corner up here. Now there's some important information up here, but the two that I'm going to focus on are this one right here, which is our direct URL link. If you're using an iframe methodology, this is where you're going to get it. Just click the button, it'll put it into your clipboard, and you can put it into your code base for your application. But if you want to utilize the embed engine and that lightweight methodology, then what you're going to do is you're going to come over here, and this is the embed code section. What we'll do is we're going to provide you the code to embed content directly into your application. So that's why I mentioned earlier, what is your code, what is your application written in? Is it JavaScript? Is it React? Okay. What is it written in? Because we're going to go through and provide you the code for each of those. Okay, we're going to go through and provide you the ability to choose an authentication provider, and then we'll put the code for that authentication string directly in there, making it very easy for you to go through and start embedding Pyramid content into your applications in an easy and lightweight manner. So just to recap what we've gone through and have seen here, looking at the two ways in which you can embed the technology, but also looking at ways in which your users can actually integrate with that technology, and being able to go through and add swap and dice to analyze the data and really get the information they need from a self-service standpoint. And then using the augmented capabilities to help you understand what's being delivered. All of that is designed to make it so that they have a really rich user experience when they're embedded into your web application. So with that, I'm going to thank you. I'm going to hand it over to Chris to facilitate any questions that you may have. But over to you, Chris.
Thank you, sir. That was awesome. I just love watching demos. It's eye-opening and pretty amazing in the capabilities of what we can provide. So we're going to open it up for Q&A. There's a Q&A chat box for you to pop in if you want to ask us a question. We would love to hear from you. It looks like we've got one being typed in right now. And this one says, Kevin. Glad it's not me. How much training would I need to build what you showed today?
Well, and you know what? That's the benefit of it. Pyramid being a no-code platform, really, it's all about drag and drop of creating the content that you want to embed. As I showed in the demonstration, your app team, you can basically hand over the code to your app team, and they're going to be able to take that content and embed it for you. So the learning curve is very low. Now, that being said, Pyramid has a learning management system. We have people who want to make sure you're successful. So there always are methods in which to help you learn the technology and do what you need to do for it.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Yep, got a question from Mike. Mike, OneSix, what geographic locations does OneSix cover?
So we are headquartered in Chicago, which means 80% of us are in Chicago proper. But we do work with clients all throughout the US and Canada. We actually even have a couple of clients in the UK. So we're pretty flexible and kind of where our clients exist. In general, I think that's probably been the case for most firms in the last 3 to 4 years. A lot of our teams are remote, but yeah, hopefully that answers the question. And then, Kevin, one thing I wanted to mention on the previous question too, like real world examples. 3 years ago, we didn't do work with Pyramid as a consulting firm. We didn't even know it existed. But over the last, year or two, we've been working in great depth with the product. And a lot of our teams had worked with other BI platforms, other integration tools, et cetera. But to Kevin's point, we went through probably about a 2-week window of training, POC, and I mean, our teams were up to speed in a heartbeat, right? So the content is really good, it's real world examples on the training, and it didn't take long for our teams to get schooled up and transfer our knowledge base from other tools to Pyramid.
Awesome. Mike, there's another question here for you. There's a lot of tools that can embed analytics out there. Why did you choose Pyramid over the others to partner with?
I think there's a couple of reasons. So there's a little bit of a recurring theme that we see in many of our clients that, a lot of tools can do it, but how they do it, to Kevin's point, is a real critical factor. And do they do it well, right? And well means it performs, it's easy to maintain and administer. But one of the biggest differentiators that we've seen is, in particular, when you're doing work in industries like healthcare, financial services, and some of the others, or even just B2B SaaS companies that are looking for better analytics in their product, this concept of multi-tenancy exists, right? And you need to be able to separate and secure and govern control of data assets not being commingled. And I think one of the differences is many other tools can do the embedded features, but they were not built with the intent of multi-tenancy around security and governance from day one. They kind of like work it and get it to work, or they ask you to do a lot of data engineering under the covers to get the product to do what you want it to do from a kind of existence of data, but then also get the very nice separation and governance and security. And Pyramid's one that the concept of multi-tenancy is built into the platform, and you don't have to kind of, rig it to get it to do what you want to do. That's a big differentiator for us.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Kevin, here's a question for you. Do I have to log in, or can I embed content anonymously?
Yeah, that's a great question, because both scenarios are valid when you're talking about business use cases. We do have the ability to have anonymous logins, so you can just go ahead and post a visual into your web application and have everybody look at it. To Mike's point, though, when you start getting into security, governance, multi-tenancy on who can see what, you do need to have the support of the logged in named users, and we do have that as well. So what you saw in the demonstration today was someone who was logged in. You do also have the anonymous capability as well.
Excellent. Kevin, I have another question for you. It's a little bizarre, though. It says, I think I've seen you before. Have you ever played golf at Torrey Pines?
Yes, I have. It was an experience I will never forget either. So thank you for asking.
Oh, you have a fan out there. Look at that. All right, folks, I think that's the end of the Q&A. I'm not seeing any other questions coming in. If you do have any questions, or you'd like further information from either OneSix Solutions or Pyramid Analytics, our websites are there right before your eyes. For more information about OneSix Solutions, it's onesixsolutions.com. And for more information about the platform at Pyramid Analytics, you can see the link right there. If you'd like copies of any of the reports that we mentioned, from the Gartner MQ to the Gartner Critical Capabilities Report, did I mention we were #1 in that? Get a copy of that. Check it out. And as well as the BARC BI and Analytics Survey 24, which comes out a week from today. So we're super excited about that. Or any content, maybe you want to see a demo, you can get all the links there on pyramidanalytics.com. I want to thank Mike, I want to thank Kevin, and I want to thank you, the audience, for tuning in, and we look forward to presenting with you another time. Thank you.